photographing squirrels? You're fired.
Chief, the planetarium party.
Oh, right. You're unfired. I need you. Come here.
You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you. Not listening. Not listening.
I shot him 6 times. I shot him in the heart. This guy, this man, he's not human.
You think you could steal from us and just walk away?
Yeah. Welcome. It's another episode of Get a Load of This Movie, a franchise movie podcast where we talk about movies that are a part of a franchise.
No.
I was trying to figure out, have you guys seen the SNL bit where he says, welcome, and then he's doing that, and it's always Kristen Wiig, and she's got the little tiny hands, and she just goes, and I'm Judy. No, that's what I was going for. Anyway, Niche, welcome back to another episode of Get a Load of This Movie franchise movie podcast, where we talk about movies that are a part of a franchise, meaning 3 or more, and this time, we're gonna get funky. No, okay. 0 for 2 with references here today. That's not
you
going
picked,
well.
Like,
give that
the
one a chance
least
to breathe.
memorable
I know.
part of that
I
sketch.
panicked on that one.
The memorable
Can I
part
pitch to you guys
about-
can I pitch to you guys a sketch idea based off of what Corey just said?
Okay, yeah. I'll take sketch ideas.
This was at since we last recorded, Cole and I both attended a wedding, that of his brother's, and there was they of course played that song. What's it called?
Mama
Cha Cha
Number
Slide.
5.
What is it called?
Mama
Cupid
Number 5.
Shuffle.
Is it the Cupid Shuffle? Either way, it's about to get funky. That one. That song.
That's the Cha-Cha Slide.
So okay, yeah. So the Cha Cha Slide, you know that part
Mama
where
Number
it's
5.
like cha cha there, y'all, cha cha again, cha cha there, y'all, and you know
Familiar with
we're
the
just
hook?
doing what the song says, you know, the whole
Yeah.
time. So what if there was like a wedding where the CD started to skip right there, and it just kept looping that part over and over again, and everyone was destined to just keep cha 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 again for hours upon hours, like the long walk where they can't stop.
The long cha-cha.
The long
Cha
walk.
cha
with the
again. Eventually, people just crying like, they can't cha
I
cha
can't
anymore.
Cha-Cha again.
All right,
Grandpa.
don't worry about that. I'm gonna cut that.
I'm not cutting it.
No, I think it's great. Come on, that's funny.
But today we are not talking about the Cha Cha Slide, Mama Number 5, or the Cupid Shuffle. We are talking
my notes.
about The Evil Dead. 81. That is correct, Cole. I know I ask you a lot, but that is correct this time. Because it's 1981, and that's when The Evil Dead came out. Directed by Sam Raimi, starring Bruce Campbell. And so we're talking about that. We're talking about that all day. We hopped on, and Cole said, did anyone die recently? Poor taste, you know? I didn't like that. I don't really want to talk about death. I just kind of want to talk about The Evil Dead. So if you guys have nothing else to talk about, I think it's time to get into it.
Funky,
you guys
funky.
Well,
see? You're getting it now. You're getting it.
I did want to ask.
Okay.
And I recently attended my brother's wedding. My brother got married. So, what is your guys' favorite wedding movie?
Wedding Crashers. I don't know. Wedding movie's hard. Maybe favorite wedding in a movie, but to define a whole movie as a wedding movie.
Okay,
I'll go Palm Springs. Palm Springs is a wedding movie.
That would qualify as a wedding movie. I love the wedding in Old School, the beginning of Old School. Everything at that wedding, I love.
That wedding's horrible.
Zach was quoting that a lot. My brother's wedding.
Cole, do you have a favorite wedding movie?
I mean, probably Wedding Crashers.
No. On this podcast, we don't repeat answers. Did you come prepared?
Hangover's a really good one, too.
I'll classify that one. That one's a wedding movie. Okay.
I mean, it's more of a bachelor party, but the end
You're
is-
undercutting your own answer.
Right. I just really like I like the speech that he gives in Palm Springs. You know what I'm talking about? We're born alone, we die alone, but may we not spend the years between alone, or something like that. It's really good, and he's just looking at what's her name? Oh my gosh, what's
Kristen
the actress's name?
Milioti.
That's correct.
Sophia Falcone.
And he's just staring at her directly in the eyes, and she's just like looking around like, who is this guy looking at? But she is so good. She needs to be in more comedy movies. But we're not talking about Palm Springs Wedding Crashers or The Hangover today. We are talking about The Evil Dead. And to talk about The Evil Dead, we have to get started with the call sheets.
Hello. You don't know me, but
device. It's in the stomach of your dead cellmate. You better hurry up. Live or die. Make your choice.
It's
Guys,
the call
I have
sheet.
been so tired recently of my call sheets getting so much hate, getting so much backlash, that I decided to write you guys a classic 4 questions and a bonus question, and I gave options for each one. And it's not like you get an option whether you take the options or not. I'm giving you the options, okay?
Oh,
so
too
the
kind.
answers are going to be right in front of you. And because there's also a bonus where it's closest to pin, of course, and because this is so simple, whoever wins gets a special game token. That's right. That's what we have on the line today. We have another special game token back on the line. And you only get to use that special game token within the next 3 episodes. No more holding it and just holding on to it like Cole did.
And full transparency, I kept forgetting I had it until
I kept reminding you. I kept reminding you, and you would always
still
be like,
forget.
I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to hold on to
Cole,
it.
it's not you were forgetting, Cole. He was literally, I edit the episodes, Cole. It would literally be like, Cole, do you want to use it? And you'll be like, I'll save it.
And then you would brutally lose. It's like, what are we doing? Anyway, whoever wins today gets a special game token. So we're going to get into it. Do you guys have any questions before we get started? But it's a pretty simple game, so I imagine there's not going to be any questions. There shouldn't be any complaining either. Good. Here we go. Question number 1. Question number 1. The cabin where the film was made also housed a lot of the crew, and many people were sharing rooms, surprisingly. As you can see, it is a quite dingy, which was reflected in the real life as well. Which of the following did the cabin not have for the crew? Electricity, plumbing, running water, or insulation? Do not say A, B, C, or D. I am looking for the answer. I said them very slowly.
This would usually be where Zach says, Cole, you're fucked. But I saw on his face, I'm not sure if he knew the answer.
I have an answer from each of you.
For the record, I do think you are fucked, Cole. Just so let me put that on the record.
I also think I'm fucked, but
sorry for the guy who's
both of
revving his
you
motorcycle
have the
outside.
answers right in front of you. My technology is running a little bit slow. Usually the message comes through on my laptop by now, but it didn't. So I have it on my phone though. But I have an answer from each of you. We're moving on to question number 2. Question number 2. After the production ended, the crew decided to bury a memento of their time together. They decided to put together a little time capsule and bury it where on the property, the filming site property? A, in the graves that they dug. B, under the front porch. C, the fireplace. Or D, next to the sign that leads to the cabin off the main road. Where did they bury their time capsule as a memento? I have an answer from Zach, and I have an answer from Cole. We're moving on to question number 3.
Final Jeopardy last night.
The original script called for the characters to be partaking in debauchery, and to be cool and method, the actors decided to try it for real in the scene. What were they originally supposed to be partaking in? A, drinking. 2, cocaine. Or 3, smoking weed. I realize the first question, I gave the answers just answer. And the second one I said A, B, C, or D. And this one I said 1, 2, 3. I don't know what I'm going to do for the options in this.
Oh my God. So salacious.
Okay. I have an answer from each of you. We're moving on to question number 4. Because of rewrites, certain parts of the film needed to be remade. While most of the actors left production, with the exception of Bruce Campbell, there was another part of the movie that was rewritten but remained in the film. What object originally had a bigger plot point before being rewritten? Was it A, the necklace, B, the Book of the Dead, C, the tape recording, or D, the car? Which object had a bigger plot point before the rewrites? I'll read the answers again because I don't have it. I do have an answer, but I'll read the answers again. A, the necklace, B, the Book of the Dead, C, the tape recording, or D, the car?
I mean, those first 3 already have very big parts to play.
Which object originally had a bigger plot point?
Couldn't use the town. Keep the car.
Okay, I have an
We can
answer
talk more
from
about
each
the
of you.
car.
We have four questions in, and we have a tie. So we are going to go to the bonus. And the bonus actually is the deciding factor today, and then we're going to go through all the questions together. A bonus question. With an amazing worldwide box office run and a higher than normal budget for the time, how much money did The Evil Dead make? So this is the money taking the worldwide box office minus the original budget. Okay, I have an answer from Cole. My laptop's updating now. Perfect. And I have an answer from Zach. Let's go through these one by one because we do have a winner. Question number one, the cabin where the film was made also housed a lot of the crew with many people sharing rooms. As you can see, is quite dingy, which was reflected in the real life as well, which the following to the cabin not have electricity, plumbing, running water, or insulation. And the answer was plumbing. They say the crew went days without showering because there was no plumbing, but they did have running water to like wash themselves like that. But it was cold and the running water was outside is what I heard. So that is the story with that. Neither of you guys got that correct. So it is 0 apiece. On to question number 2. After the production ended, the crew decided to bury a memento of their time together. They decided to put together a time capsule and bury it where on the filming sites? A, in the graves, B, under the front porch, C, in the fireplace, or D, next to the sign that leads to the cabin. And yet, neither of you guys got this correct. It was the fireplace. And actually, a few years later, the house was torn down, and now all that remains is the fireplace. Ooh, I know. I thought that was kind of fun.
Spooky.
So it's 0 apiece. Going on to question number 3. The original script called for the characters to be partaking in debauchery and to be cool in method. The actors attempted to do the first take for real. What were they originally partaking in? A, drinking, B, cocaine, 3, smoking weed. And the answer, you guys both got this correct, was smoking weed. When they were first listening to the tape recording, they were supposed to be all smoking weed, and the entire scene had to be later reshot due to their uncontrollable behavior. Drugs.
Devil's lettuce, as they call it.
Not even once. So we're tied. 1 apiece going into question number 4.
That's just what happens to you when you smoke weed. The book did nothing. That's just what happens to you if you smoke weed.
Yeah, this is just a warning. Because of the rewrites, certain parts of the film had to be remade completely. While most of the actors left production with the exception of Bruce Campbell, there was another part of the movie that was rewritten, but remained a part of the movie. What object originally had a bigger plot point before being rewritten? Cole, what did you say for this one?
I said the tape recording because I feel like that would require them to all be like on set to be like more affected by the tape recording, but that's probably wrong.
Zach, what did you say?
What did I say? The book? I said the book.
Yes, you did. You did say the book. Neither of those are correct. It was originally supposed to be, or it was the necklace that had a bigger plot point. The necklace was supposed to be used to burn the book because the necklace was a little magnifying glass thing. And so they originally were going to
say it does kind of.
that.
He uses it, but it's not.
He
He uses
uses
it to grab it and then throw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they left it in there because it was supposed to be like, I don't know what else he's supposed to do with
It is
this in this way.
It is a weird necklace.
It's a weird necklace, and then it's like he's spending time with it at the grave, so it's like, I guess we have to pay it off a little bit here. So the answer was A, the necklace, not the book, not the tape recording, or the car. So that is 1-1 apiece. Going into the bonus question. The bonus question, with an amazing worldwide box office run and a higher than normal budget for the time, how much money did The Evil Dead make? So I was looking for the worldwide box office minus the budget. So the budget, does anyone know what the budget was?
It's like 90 million.
No.
Or 90,000.
Budget?
90,000.
I think it
I think
started
lower than that.
No.
I want to. The budget?
Actually, I think from what I saw, it started at 90,000, but ended up being closer to 350,000 or 375,000. So somewhere between there. And I took the 375 because does anyone know what the worldwide box office was?
I've heard mixed things on this. Sometimes I've heard 2.5 million. Sometimes I've heard 20 million because of like an accounting error. So I don't know.
So I heard it was 2 million for the United States, and then 29 million or something like, or 27 million for the worldwide. So that takes us to a total of 29,025,000 is the number we're looking for. Zach, you said 20 million. So you were 9,000 or 9 million off. Cole, you said 29 million on the dot, meaning you were only $25,000 off, meaning you are our winner and you hold the special game token once again. Congratulations. And we're moving on to the action.
Even the opening scene, there's always some random girl who gets a call that undoubtedly ends up getting her killed. It's also predictable. There's no element of surprise. You can see everything coming. Oh!
Did that surprise you?
Why?
Because you talk too much. Now shut the fuck up and watch the movie.
You have 3 episodes to use that.
Very
I'll use it
accurate,
next
Cole.
step.
Very
don't-
accurate.
I don't know how I got that. I was
don't
gonna
know.
guess upwards of like 30.
Good job.
I swear I didn't cheat. I swear on my mother's grave and my Los Pollos Hermanos shirt.
I didn't accuse you of cheating. No one accused you.
You're the only one that's brought this.
You're being
You're the
you're
only
being
one
weird.
bringing
You're
it
being
up.
weird.
So let's talk about this movie. We're talking about this movie?
We're waiting on you.
Well, I felt that I thought it'd be a
We're
fun
waiting on you.
exercise to see if Zach can just do this off the cuff. He has seen this movie a lot. I've seen him just randomly turn it on whenever I'm over at his house. So I want
That
to
has
see
happened
how
before, yeah.
off the cuff Zach can do this summary.
Yeah, I've actually probably seen this one the least of the original 3 actually at this point, but I can do it. Let's put it this way, and I mean this endearingly. It's not a hard movie to recite overall. It's pretty simple.
Not a lot of
What-
dialogue.
Not a lot of
pretty
stuff
easy.
going on in general.
I mean, I'm not gonna go scene by scene, but here's the meat of it right here. So Ash, along with his friends and his girlfriend, his sister, and his friend Scotty, and Scotty's girlfriend Shelly, they all go to this cabin in Tennessee. None of them have been there. Might be run down. Who knows? They get there. They find a tape recording. Professor Novi was staying here with his wife, and he recently got back from a dig in the Kandarian ruins, and he brought back Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead. He decided to read some of these passages on tape. And Cheryl is the first one to notice things are a little amiss. And then she goes out in the woods when she gets a call to join the deadites, as it were. And she is assaulted in the woods, unfortunately. Comes back. No one believes her. They try to escape. The bridge is gone. So they're pretty much trapped. And then one by one, Ash's loved ones are possessed by the demon until he is dispatched them all after bouts of just psychological and physical torture. But then even in the end, the evil dead, as the dawn rises in the distance, the evil rushes through the house into Ash's screaming mouth. That is pretty much what happens in this movie. Anyone disagree with that account?
I don't know.
I
the Russian-
disagree, and here's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie, but it doesn't matter.
Here's why. No, it sounds pretty.
Corey, now you usually come in with a question. Did you come in with one today? You like to lead off with a general go-around.
I did have, okay, well, it wasn't a general go-around. I did have an overarching thesis from this movie that I don't know if it was one that I want to lead off with. I can lead off with it if you want to start out and just kind of get into
Let's
it.
just get the ball rolling.
I honestly didn't think I was going to start off with this. I feel like Zach's going to be really upset.
No, I saw this coming.
Yes, let's go.
This
Keep
is
it coming.
exactly what I have in my. I knew this. I planned on this.
I don't know if I'm sold on Bruce Campbell as a protagonist after seeing this movie.
I have in my notes, ask Corey about Ash. I literally have
Ashley.
Ashley,
Ashley?
I'm all right. Ashley, I'm all right. Corey, I'm going to ask. Well, you said it, so I don't have to ask you, but I was going to make a point of asking after each movie if you like them. Because I'm not going to say you will like them, but at the very least, it is different. It is different going forward.
Hey,
for
she
Ash
bitch.
and the tone of the movie. Well, don't quote movies we're not at yet, but yeah, it gets very different.
I was going to say, I don't dislike him. I think he's fine for what he is in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's like,
He's very passive here.
Yeah, and sometimes I thought that was like, if you don't know this movie, you're just seeing it for the first time, the passive character surviving is kind of a fun twist, you know? And so I didn't have a problem with that whatsoever. But watching this movie, I would not have said, oh, this probably launched this guy's career and launched this guy's, like, trajectory with these movies.
His career never really launched. And when I
well,
say
okay, but like
starring
in these movies, but like starring in these movies, like most actors don't get a trilogy that they star in, you know, that's surrounded by them, that has them,
unless
like,
it's made by their best friend.
Okay,
waiting for that third movie, bud.
Well taken. I get that. I'm just saying I don't think I would have watched this and been like, I bet the next one he's going to be very entertaining to watch in it. I think I would watch this one and think, I don't know if this gets me excited for him in the next one.
I will not argue that at all.
Okay. You know, I was expecting that to be quite a pain point.
No. But this is part of why I wanted to do this series in general, because your reactions from movie to movie could be so different, not only towards Ash as a character, but just the tone of these. Skipping ahead to the third one, Corey, it is unbelievable how different of a movie this third movie is from this movie. I don't know what you know about it. We're not gonna talk
I don't know
about
anything about the next two movies at all.
Good. Keep it that way until you press play. But
I will.
They're cohesive. I mean, in that they do in a way follow each other up. But
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves too much. But like, when you said that, I am nervous that if he's such a different character, is it going to take a leap where I have to like kind of suspend a little bit of disbelief? Where I'm like, oh, okay, I get whatever. Is his name Ash or Ashley?
It's Ashley Williams, but
his sister calls him Ashley.
To Ash.
I should have looked it up on Letterboxd.
All right, like, here, Corey,
like Zach.
I'll transition off
Ash on Letterboxd. Yeah.
I'll transition off what you're saying, Corey.
Yes.
I totally agree. He's not a big charismatic hero. He's not brave here. He's just, honestly, it's just him getting traumatized.
So bad at the very beginning.
It's not great. It's him getting traumatized for 80 minutes. That's pretty much what's happening here. And, you know, he's not the guy that you don't go into this movie assuming he's going to be the hero if you have no knowledge of who he is going forward in the series. So in that aspect, I like being surprised by who's the last one standing. It's not like he's unlikable either. He doesn't hold you like, or he doesn't like grab you as an audience member, and I think he plays scared well, you know, like I don't think it's not that I don't buy that I don't think he's a bad actor here. I just don't think he's like a screen. He doesn't command the screen or something like you might assume,
he's not a
given his larger
presence.
than life persona in other movies. Right. But I think that goes into, I think all these characters, I don't think any of them are like, you know, this isn't like Citizen Kane, like deep characters, not that they have to be, obviously, but I do think this entire group, they feel like a real group of friends, even without them. I bought them all as a group of friends, with Cheryl kind of being the outcast. You know, she's fifth wheeling on a couple's trip as Ash's sister, but like all their interactions together, I completely buy. And so it kind of feels like, for how crazy things get, that characterization for all of them mixed with just how raw this movie feels, which is a result of the budget, it does feel like it's happening to real people, even like the crazy things that are happening. I don't like, you don't watch this like you would watch like a typical generic teenage horror movie and be like, oh, that's the jock, that's the asshole, even though Scotty is a bit of an asshole, but he's like a believable asshole. He's not like the typical high school bully asshole who you know is going to get killed, you know, like he's not. They don't fall into
that
archetypes.
asshole in a group of friends, but he's not differentiated from the friends.
He's an enjoyable asshole. I like his reaction to, you know, Cheryl being like, oh, I think it's probably just some animal. Then he just laughs in her face like, an animal. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So like and like the way he interacts with Ash, like in the basement, I wrote this down. In a span of like 1 minute, when, you know, Ash follows him to the basement and Scotty scares him. Goes, boo, ha 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 ha, here, come here, I want to show you something. Then finds a gun, you know, it's probably loaded, points it at Ash. Hey, move that, you know, move the gun out of my face. This dagger looks like your old girlfriend. Ash laughs with him at that, like that was like some great joke.
It's just a skull.
Not clever at all, but
I wrote down for that scene, I said, Scotty is sick, when he just went, boo, ha ha ha. I was like, that is sick. Absolutely
Yeah.
terrifying.
Let me ask you
just
this.
flew open.
This
Yeah.
is that's the the cellar door flying open is really good in Cabin in the Woods. Obviously, Corey, Cabin in the Woods is completely doing this movie. It's like Scary Movie to Scream what Cabin in the Woods is to this movie. Have you seen Cabin in the Woods?
I have not seen Cabin in the
Oh,
Woods.
it's
I thought
great.
Cabin in the Woods is supposed to be like really scary.
I don't want to say it's a parody movie. It's a satire, but it's not a parody movie. Like it's not like breaking the fourth wall or anything like Scary Movie
It's
does.
Scream. It's Scream.
It's
and
like Scream, yes.
Own way, but like with a bigger
Scope of just horror in
scale.
general. But it's
Yeah.
all set at a cabin like this. Pretty much the same setup. With a scary cellar and a cellar door just opens and
Put it on my watch list.
oh my gosh, I would love to talk about that at some point. But yeah, they are aping this movie pretty hard. I was gonna ask if let's say all of us we all end up at a cabin like this and we find a tape recording in the basement. We've never seen this movie. This movie doesn't exist in this universe. Do you play the tape?
No.
Of the
Yeah.
No.
Yes. My
No,
answer is
no.
percent yes. See, Cole, I
What?
would be the one. I'd be like Scotty to Cheryl to you and be like, shut up. And like play this. You can leave the
Not
room.
the first time you probably would have said that on the trip to the cabin. I
Well,
don't
were you
think
being
it's
annoying in
the
this
worst
Worst that
hypothetical
could
scenario?
happen. What's the worst that could happen by playing a tape, Cole?
Exactly.
The
exactly.
demons come out.
But
I
this movie doesn't exist. You have no
We don't know about that.
prior. Yeah, you have no idea.
I do love how into it the guy gets on the recording when he's doing the chant. He really is. He's selling it. He's doing the chant. Then things go wrong. That's where they pause the tape because the tree comes through the window, and then after Cheryl has her meltdown, Ash is like, maybe I should keep playing this tape and see what else this guy says. The next thing the guy says after doing the chant is like, my wife Henrietta's dead. Like I had to. She became host to a Kandarian demon. It's like, oh, what happened? Oh no. That's just not what you want to hear given the circumstances. Corey, well, how did
Yes.
you went into this? What did you know about Evil Dead going into this? Did you know it was a possession movie? Did you think it was a zombie movie?
I did not know anything about Evil Dead besides
Beautiful.
Bruce Campbell has a chainsaw.
And even that, not really much in this movie.
Not really. The only reason I knew that is because of the poster you have.
Right.
But I assumed it was a zombie movie, which, you know what? I think it kind of blurred. It was like possession zombie-esque. Like it kind of blurred the two together. So I wasn't necessarily off with that, but I didn't know. And I knew what you told me where Sam Raimi was 21 when he made it. I knew that. So
I thought Zach said
2021, I think. I mean,
he was
they
very
filmed
young.
it over, like, they filmed it in 1980, or they finished it
79.
in 1980, I think I want to say. So they started in 79.
Yeah, it took a
He
while.
was born in 58, I think. So
59.
50. I'm
But-
going to go 57.
I really did not know very much about this movie at all. So I really had nothing like going in besides like, oh, something scary is going to happen.
Mhm.
And you know what? I think over like some of these movies that you watch now, I actually think that my take on that is kind of falling apart because I'm like, sometimes if it's an older movie, it doesn't have the same like gravitas to the scary parts of it because we've also been exposed to very
Mhm.
scary things now, whether it's like real life or whether it's like on the screen that looks a little bit more graphic because they can make it look a little bit more real than they could
So
back
it's pretty
then.
graphic.
But then, like, I think overall that takes kind of just dissolved a little bit because I've seen, since I developed that take, I've seen movies like The Exorcist, which is terrifying still. And you know what? I think this fits into that category. I think this is scary, even though it's not doing anything like unimaginable. I mean, a lot of it's makeup, prosthetics, and they are using it very, very well. I couldn't really tie down a lot of the times. I'm like, oh, here comes a jump scare, here comes a jump scare, and I couldn't really tie down when he likes to put jump scares in there and when he doesn't, and when he likes to like subvert expectations, like, oh, there's not, but right behind him is, or something like that. Like he kept me on my toes in that aspect, which I liked.
There are some good jump scares in here that don't feel cheap. Like
No,
yeah.
some of them did, some of them definitely did, but I the scary parts that I think hold up. Shelly was in the basement. Linda is in pieces in the backyard, and Cheryl's the one that was sitting.
Cheryl's
on
in the
floor.
basement. Cheryl's in the basement.
Cheryl's in the basement. Shelly's
Cheryl's the
sitting on the
sister.
floor.
Yeah.
Okay. The actress that plays Shelly
Mm-hmm.
was so good when she like sat, like the physical acting by definitely by
Yeah, these
Shelly
women
and
really,
Cheryl.
yeah.
I don't think Linda had to too much to do.
She's more of like a doll. They kind of make her look like a play doll, which also scared the shit out of me when I was like a child. Like her sitting there with like the makeup done with her, like just smiling, sitting crisscross.
That's Shelly. That's Shelly.
No, that's Linda. Shelly's the one that gets chopped up into, like little twitching pieces on the floor. Cheryl.
Cheryl's in the basement. I thought Linda was
Linda's
out in the backyard.
Linda is the one that he beats the living shit out of.
And then drags outside. He drags her outside and just leaves her cackling out there like, yep, that'll do it. That'll take care of that. Like that's... Shelly is the one that she has one... When she gets possessed, she has one pretty long, grueling scene, but then she's out of the movie because they chop her up into pieces.
And that's Shelly.
That's Shelly. That's Scotty's girlfriend.
Then Linda, the actress that plays Linda, who is like a doll sitting on the floor. Her and Cheryl, who's in the basement. Those two actresses, their physical acting to play this horrific scene, they were both so good. I wrote it down the first time when Cheryl, the sister, yes, when she gets lifted up in the air that first time when she's actually possessed. Also, this movie goes from like, it's kind of moving, but it just takes off and it just like does not, like, it is like,
that's the accelerator
something's gonna happen,
moment.
something's gonna happen, and then it just happens and they're like, whoa, there was no.
And it's at that point, if you don't know that Bruce Campbell is like the main character going forward, I think you go into this movie and until that moment, you are assuming Cheryl is the main character of the movie.
This is kind of the way this is set up and the way this is played out. Obviously, we know now Bruce Campbell's the biggest name. I think he's the only name I know from this cast. It's not like with Alien where they pick Tom Skerritt and you think, oh my God, Tom Skerritt's the main character. John Hurt's the main character. And then it ends up being Sigourney Weaver. At the beginning of this film, there is no clear main character, and that works to the benefit of what happens to these characters. And Zach, like you said, you're probably right. You would assume Cheryl is the heroine of this story, given the whole final girl trope at this point in time, but it works that you subvert those expectations to make Ash the main character.
I guess looking at it now, I always considered Cheryl, like at the very beginning, like, can't remember who plays the girl at the very beginning of Scream, but something
Drew
like
Barrymore.
that.
Drew
Barrymore, yes. Where it's like just an intro character kind of introducing you to the story, which, I mean, that's how I took it. So but maybe that's me kind of going in knowing Bruce Campbell is the main character, knowing that like having Scream in the back of my mind, which hadn't been released. So maybe that's more of just of the current times.
What I love about the Evil Dead 2 is, or put it this way, I went into it not knowing anything about it, but I watched it. No. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Calm down.
I mean,
Calm
either way,
down.
I watched this, I think, at a great age in the sense that I think I was maybe 11. And I think it's the perfect age to where, like, I'm not like 8 years old and it's going to, like, actually send me crying to my mom or something. But it was enough to where I was very scared watching this, but, mature enough to stick through it and watch it and realize that I am having a good time.
You probably watched this with your super sympathetic brothers who were so
I did watch. I watched it. I remember. I do. Here's the thing. I watched it. I know I watched it with Sam, and I know I watched it with friend of the pod, Josh. So I think I watched it. They were watching it, and I got to join it. And I went in knowing nothing, and I remember that moment with like having no expectations. That moment where Cheryl reveals herself to be possessed is such a like, oh my, like unexpected, like, oh, so this is what this movie is moment. And it's delivered so like I have a prompt here, and I'll start the prompt by saying this is probably my answer of like, what's your favorite deadite? I don't think they call them deadites in this movie. That comes later, but like that's pretty much what possessed people are in these movies. They're called deadites. What's your favorite like deadite moment in this movie? And I think mine is that initial Cheryl reveal where she starts reading off the cards without looking,
Yeah.
And then that big music slam when she slams her face around and like kind of growls at them almost, and then gets lifted into the air.
I like how she's like tilting a little bit too. Like
she's almost like a puppet. It's almost like she's like on strings, and she probably was on strings.
It's an uncomfortable like
possession
of her like body in that moment.
I remember being that moment all the way through when she stabs Linda in the ankle. That got me pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
And also the other moment that I remember talking to my friends about and talking to my cousin Gabby about, like, this is you have to see this movie. It was so scary. It's like the when Linda is laughing at Ash after, you know, she plays pretend like she's fine. And then, you know, it was all revealed just to be a torture method. And she starts laughing at him and singing like, nah, we're going to get you or whatever, is like, just like such a, that as a child, like that is like just that like nursery rhyme, like lullaby type of scare tactic. It really lingered with me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really subscribe to that. I was too young to see this movie. It's like, I think you should be, I think it's a good thing, you know, to a point. You know, you don't want to be like 4 or 5, but like when you're old enough to really be scared and the line between movie and real life is still blurred just enough to where like you're still at the age where there is part of you that is like, could this happen to me? You know, like
I'm still somewhat there.
You know, and here's the thing, and I saw it at that age, and that feeling, even though, you know, if I saw this for the first time now, I could appreciate it on a filmmaking level, maybe like in like, oh, like that's cool how they did that, and I could acknowledge that that's a well orchestrated scare. But I don't know if I would be watching it like how I watch it now, because I still have that experience, that original experience, kind of coloring the lenses of which I watch that. And it's different than nostalgia. It's not like, oh, I'm watching this nostalgic. It's just like, I remember that feeling that I had watching it, where I was genuinely so scared, but still kind of really enthralled by it. And that there's like residue of that feeling still for me when I watch this, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I think that also, I don't think everyone has that. So I like your point of you don't subscribe to the whole, like, you have to be of a certain age to do that. Like, obviously, if you're really, really young, can't tell the difference. You think everything you see is real life. That obviously you shouldn't. But like I said, I still somewhat feel that sometimes. Like, I watched The Conjuring senior year of college, and
Scary
it was
movie.
still,
That first one is scary.
It's terrifying, and it's not that I was like, oh, this could ever happen, but it's like.
But it did.
Scary movies also attempt to try to blur the lines a little bit. They're trying to, because if it was too fake, it wouldn't scare you as much, you know, and it's more entertaining.
It has to.
I think that like that thing that you have that has like a part of this movie. It's been in other movies, like The Mummy is one that you guys have, where it's like that first watching of it, where it was. I think that might be more.
That feels more like it is nostalgia. That one does feel like more nostalgia type of thing, where, I mean, I love The Mummy, but when I mean like, oh, I still have that feeling, is like, I think that is nostalgia, where this doesn't feel like nostalgia with like what I mean, like with like, it's because I'm not like, oh man, I remember when I was 11 and I watched this, what a nice time. It's just, it's a feeling that still, it's like, I don't know. It's
like
that
the
scared feeling
of it. Like,
it's not a warm and fuzzy, you know. Yes.
I'm trying to think of.
You
like
remember how
that
exciting?
that
I remember
resonates with
how
you.
exciting it was to see something so different than I had ever seen. And just because I've seen more things now, and things that came out after this, aped off of this, you know, kind of use this as inspiration. Just because I've seen other things now, I can still go back to this thing and still see it with those fresh eyes, because that feeling was so strong then that I can still remember how that feeling was now. I don't know. That seems different than nostalgia to me, but maybe it's a version of nostalgia.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. But
I think to answer your original question, my favorite deadite, is that what they call these things?
Yeah.
Deadites?
What's your favorite? Yeah.
I really want to go, since you already took the floating Cheryl. Yes, since you already took her, that is the best moment, because it's most shocking one for sure. I'm probably going to go any scene with Linda when she's a deadite, like sitting on the floor right there. Like, and I don't know, I think they all kind of, she's so good at all. Like, even when she sits up, when she's actually revealed to be a deadite, like you see it spread on her ankle to her entire body, and she just like flies up straight out of bed. They are so, I don't get it.
They are so silly, those deadites.
But that music that they play when that spreads like through her leg, it's almost like you hear like a swarm of bees coming toward you. It's really effective, the score in this movie. And maybe I'll talk about that later. But there's a lot of good music stings, a lot of good musical like stings in this movie that I think kind of sell those big shocking moments. And honestly, my favorite Linda moment is honestly that moment where besides the, you know, we're going to get you moment, but when she jumps through the air and he grabs the shovel and beheads her in midair.
Just chops her head off.
And the blood, it takes a second. It's not immediate. The body lands on him and then starts spewing in his face, and her severed head starts laughing nearby.
It felt like it was almost thinking of like, what can I do to mess with this guy? And so it's like,
and
it's
here's
still
a comp for
going.
you.
Yeah.
The only other unrated, this movie's unrated, or it's NC-17, whatever. You know, it's pretty much.
Only two contradictory things.
I know, but it's pretty much, as in, it's above R. Right. Either way, you get what I mean. It's like Terrifier, which are, you know, those are unrated movies. And I think there's a similarity between art and the deadites, and that, you know, the art doesn't talk like the deadites do, but they have so much personality and really have fun in like their torture of people. And, you know, like, I think deadites are a step further than art because they can also enjoy when they're being mutilated as well. Like, they could laugh while it's happening at times, whereas, like, you know, art will, you know, he'll react in pain when things happen to him.
Art will get a little upsetty spaghetti.
He does get a little upsetty spaghetti. There's more anger to art, I think, than the most anger you get from a deadite in this movie. And I love this is an example of the movie being kind of funny while also being scary. I think this movie is funny and scary at the same time. Not funny then scary, funny then scary. I think it's easy to be scared and laugh at the same time in this movie. I think it's simultaneous. When Cheryl is being chased back to the cabin by the Evil Dead POV, and she gets to the door.
So much POV in this movie.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's just economical. She gets in, slams the door right before, you know, the evil POV gets to her, and, you know, you hear like the Evil Dead voice just be like kind of like
after she gets inside.
It's almost like a oh, darn it like type of moment.
I missed that part.
I'm gonna find it and put that sound right there in the episode.
You'll hear it go.
It makes me laugh. You really do. I swear to God.
I believe you.
Got away.
I believe you.
I know, but it's not like it matters because it still gets into it gets into the house whenever it wants to get in, and it possesses people in the house. You know? It doesn't seem like there's any point where it couldn't get Ash if it really wants to get Ash. And then you know, it eventually does at the end of the movie, but it has a lot of fun up until that point. So that's why this movie's like it's not a comedy, but it is scary, but it's fun while still being scary.
I want to piggyback off that for a sec because after I watched this, I felt a compulsion to watch the first episode of a little show called Ash versus the Evil Dead, which falls into this continuity. But this brings up...
You have not watched that, right?
I've watched the first season. I have not watched the second or third. I'm going to need to watch it before the anime revival comes out. Love me
excited
Bruce
for that.
Campbell.
I'm very excited for that.
But it's almost like it's a rule that these characters think they can protect themselves by hiding inside. Ash does it in his home in the show. And at this point, he has not learned that they can just get in whenever they want. And if they're outside, if the Evil Dead is outside, it wants you to think it can't get in, but it can get in. And there is something terrifying about a maniacal spirit that you don't see coming, but that can latch on to anyone at once at any given moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is a lot. I mean, it's like there's really no rules that the deadites really stick to in this movie, but yet it never feels like, oh, it's being inconsistent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's
like
no
time, everything that they do and everything that happens, it's like, well, I couldn't have predicted that really, but that also is like, well, yeah, that's about right from everything I've gathered from them so far.
And
should I watch Ash vs. the Evil Dead?
After you watch these
would
three,
be the trilogy, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
After you watch these three,
I'll stop. I'll
Corey,
stop looking.
you will really.
It is.
I don't know if he'll like it.
A lot of fun with that show.
It is a fun show. He is a fun character.
Well, you see, I think that's a conversation better had after the next couple because he's
not really that fun in this one.
He's not really even. He's not even really a character. here. It's like
Well, he's a
You know, I
character,
almost
but-
jokingly said that after you followed up with, he's not really, he is a character.
I mean, he's a character, but
I want to talk about a few other notes I have. One of the other notes I wrote down was the when they first get to the house, the swing is just hitting the side of the house constantly
Good
until
sound
they
design.
unlock.
bad omen. Leave then.
No,
if
I
the
mean,
rocking
here's-
chair
that would
keeps
fire me up.
rocking, get the fuck out
like,
of
this
there.
place is
Here's
awesome.
the thing. It
No.
wouldn't immediately send me away, but if I'm walking up to the door and I stop at the door and I stare at it and it just and like it just keeps hitting, I'm like, that
Until
is
you
really
unlock
And
the
then you
house.
grab the key,
Well,
and then it
yeah,
stops.
well, no, because then like you unlock the house and then it stops. At that point, I'd be like,
No, I'm
let's
going
go
home.
somewhere else.
I
That's
am
what I
going
would say.
home.
I think that would be my point. But if I just saw that and it just is constantly hitting the house, I'd be like, that's annoying. You know, we should probably fix that. But I guess the wind is somehow doing that. I don't know. But I really like that. They had a lot of moments
But
like
it's
that.
not
with,
windy today, Corey.
they had a lot of moments like that with different objects that they used
Clock.
to, like the clock's one. I considered the bridge one, even though we don't necessarily we see part of it, but we don't necessarily see it. So I still counted that.
Do you
I love that
consider
shot of
the trees
with the headlights
one?
on them as she's
Not the
freaking
trees.
out right there in the headlights when the bridge is out.
Yeah.
I like that moment a lot. And the camera just kind of raises up. It kind of gaslights her because like she wants to leave and he's like, okay, fine, I'll take you. And they get in the car and it doesn't start and you're like, oh, of course it won't start. And then she's like, see, it won't let us leave. And then once she says that, the car
it's
starts.
like-
It makes her look foolish. You know,
Yeah.
like
I also wrote down, don't travel with women. That's another thing I wrote down because they just seem to be causing all sorts of issues at first. You know,
you know what
finally
one of these
Bex
original
Scott-
titles was for this movie?
Women
These
is
bitches
bad?
are witches.
No. I guess
No way.
you're joking.
There's a list of different titles, and I'm pretty sure
Read some
that
off. Read some off.
original Evil Dead titles.
I don't
was
believe
listening to
you.
another podcast on it, and they were doing this. They were reading off all the original titles. Let's say
That would be insane. Evil Dead's a much better name for this movie.
These
Blood
bitches.
Flood was one.
Which one?
Blood Flood was one. One second. I gotta
Okay.
find these. I might take
Not
this out if I
really,
can't
but-
find something to corroborate this, but I was really sure that this Book of the Dead, I think, was the original one.
That seems
I can
more
see that.
realistic. These bitches are witches as well.
Book of the Dead is kind of limiting though, because then it's like you have this you're tying it to a certain like MacGuffin, you know? And then it's like of course you can't kill the MacGuffin at the end of the movie because you need another movie.
Well, that's the thing, Corey. They just kind of don't care that happened, and it's back.
Shut up. Are you kidding me?
Zach, don't spoil it.
It's not a reveal. I mean, I feel like Corey has to go into this movie knowing the context that the next movie is literally.
I assume the problems have not been solved.
No, but it's not that. It just That's so hard to describe. There's really nothing like it because it's kind of a sequel, kind of a remake, but it's like
Remake, when was it made? When's the next one?
6 years after.
And they've okay. I'll just
It's
wait.
not,
I'll just
yeah,
wait. I'll
you'll
just wait.
see. It is just it's like when you take a serious photo with a group and then someone in the group is like, okay, now a silly one. It's like
That's what you're
that's
comparing.
literally what Evil Dead 2 is. It's a silly version of this, a sillier version. Whatever. We'll save that. Yeah. I'm a big fan of the clever ways that they, on their budget, they find very clever visuals that keep very engaging because, you have to find a way to keep the audience engaged. It's a movie made for a drive-in. It's not trying to be super serious, but you can't be boring, so like the POV shot of the evil, like kind of rushing through the woods. That's like, the main example, but like, I love all the shots of the huge moon being covered with like black smoke. That happens like 3 different times. I love when they're playing the tape and like the ground like raises up with like red lights underneath it. It literally almost seems like hell is opening up to let these demons out, which I really love that look. When the blood in the basement drips onto the projector and it's like Ash is like standing in the light and the blood starts pouring down over him in the projection. Like things like that. Like they just find really clever ways to be visually interesting and be in like
on a budget.
That is really pretty much what this movie is. It's a more fun version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre in that regard. Both like really low budget, kind of grimy movies, whereas that one is probably more disturbing.
Texas
than this
Chainsaw
one
is just gross. That's like
it's more gross, and it's
movie.
not supernatural either. So that one might feel even more tangible. But like this one, they're both just really kind of like guerrilla filmmaking almost. I don't know if that's the right use of that term, but it's just like really cheap. You're just kind of doing it on the fly and seeing what you can do, throwing a lot at the wall, seeing what sticks. But this one is just more fun than that one. I mean, maybe this is too broad a question. Do you consider this a fun movie?
Yeah, I think it has fun with itself. Like, I don't know. I don't think it takes itself too. Well, okay. I don't think it takes itself too seriously at any point where it's like it's trying to, lack for a better term, insist upon itself. You know,
definitely doesn't
like
do
The
that,
Godfather.
No 81-minute movie insists upon itself. I think that's one theory.
It's having fun. It's recognizing what it is, but it's also trying to do a good job at what it's trying to accomplish. You know, it's never like taking light of the goal that it's setting out for, but it's also recognizing like it's just a movie at the end of the day, you know, and I don't think it ever loses sight of that.
Here's a take. I think it's impressive how this might be the most fun a movie is while being so completely mean-spirited. Like, this is not a, good, like...
This is a writer
everyone's
who
feeling
hates
good.
his
Everyone's
characters.
feeling good at the end of this movie. This movie is just punishing its characters the entire time, and yet it is just so fun to watch, I think, for me at least.
Are there many movies where the character, or horror movies specifically, where the characters aren't being punished pretty consistently?
But a lot, okay, put it this way, where it's not as mean, because this still feels mean because it still feels serious. There's movies that are fun and they're less serious. Like, I think the next movie is an example. I don't think the second one's like, what a mean movie, because it's sillier than this, intentionally so. But like, this is like trying to scare you and trying to like disturb you, and I think it is fun while doing so, even despite how harsh it is.
Okay.
If that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad take. Maybe that was dumb take, and I'll cut it.
No, I don't think it's a dumb take. I just don't. I'm trying to think of another movie, and I guess the next one is an example of it that doesn't torture their characters. But I guess like
it tortures them, but it's hard to take it seriously because it's a different tone. I think what I'm saying is the tone here is serious.
Does that meet the definition of a horror movie?
It's a horror comedy. I wouldn't say this is a horror comedy. I'd say the next one's a horror comedy.
Oh, okay.
And then the third one I would just say is a comedy.
Gosh.
An adventure comedy.
Stop it.
I've said too much.
I've said too much as well. But yeah.
But then your premise still doesn't. I don't think it's ignoring your premise, but I think you're.
I have an interesting podcast question, because that was a flop on my part. That was a flop.
No, I thought it was fine. I was
do
trying
better.
to like define
Let's hear it.
This is a good broad question for movies in general that is very specific to this movie.
Love movies in general.
Because I joked to Corey before, because Corey hadn't seen this. And this wasn't a joke, but I texted Corey. I was like, when you watch Evil Dead, remember that a 20/21-year-old, this was maybe like 20, 21-year-olds or whatever.
Yeah. 20?
Yeah, I know. Exactly. This was made by 21-year-olds, which makes there just a bunch of infants around on set.
Zach, 20-year-olds, how many are you taking in a fight?
Probably one.
Oh.
I think I'd probably handle one. I think by two at that point, they're in their prime. I'm probably cooked. But I said just keep that in mind while you watch this. Like, let that kind of color the glasses that you're watching this with. And Corey was like, they don't get any help from me. No. Or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
That's fair enough. But I thought, that's a genuine, actual, I think, question. Because how much do the circumstances of a production affect how you watch a movie, if at all? This is just, this is not to even have like the practical effects versus, like the CGI discussion that we've had a million times, but like I'm more forgiving of okay, that ankle doesn't look real, that she stabbed. I'm more forgiving of it here because it's a super low budget, movie made by a 21-year-old. So if anything, I'm just still impressed by like, how did they do that?
And it all comes back to
Marvel, in the sense that, like, if I see a Marvel movie and there's a bad CGI effect, I'm like, you are a $1 billion company. When you know how a movie was made, does that at all change how you watch it and how you feel about it when you're watching it?
Great first time asked that question. Cole,
Yes, from time to time, like how a movie's made, the things that go into it. If I think of like Mad Max Fury Road, and I think George Miller had people painstakingly draw out scenes, and he goes, this is how I'm going to make the movie, and then he would just randomly input dialogue into scenes. I'm very forgiving if the dialogue's not great, but the visuals are very great. I mean, it's a case by case basis. I feel like, sometimes I'm like, yeah, bad visual effects bother me if it's made on a $250 million budget, because what were you spending your money on if you know you're going to be in space for the half the movie? And here, I'm very forgiving of it. This was a $375,000 movie. Half the crew abandoned him at one point or another, and half the scenes where you're not seeing some character's face, it's one of his buddies who was on set getting smacked around and doing that stunt work. I mean, I'm very forgiving of it here, and I think I'm more forgiving of it given the circumstances that were put into it. And overall, yeah, probably more forgiving of a movie based on circumstance. If that answers the question.
No, it does.
Okay, here's okay, and this is maybe what I was trying to get at earlier. But I'll use it with an example. So how well does a movie set out to achieve what it's trying to do? So like, let's say the movie, I'm going to use two examples here to prove my point. So like Priscilla, people really like the movie Priscilla. It's a drama about Priscilla Presley and her relationship with Elvis. I think it is a well-acted movie. I think it looks really good. It did not work for me at all. Or not, I don't want to say at all. Like what I said, those parts worked, but like I just could not get into it. I did not think it had an interesting enough narrative or kept my attention. And maybe that's just because it's not, I was just coming at it from too much of my perspective. But either way, it's setting out to be a really profound drama or whatever. And it's technically really well made, well constructed. Didn't work for me. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. I gave Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, a 4 out of 5. And that movie is not aiming high. It is not aiming high.
Was it made by a man?
It was. It was made by a man.
I get it.
But it was made by Joseph Zito, not to be confused with Barry Zito, the pitcher on the Moneyball A's. But that movie aimed to just be a straight up, it aimed lower than what Priscilla was aiming for, but I think it hit its target. So since it hit its target, I like it more, even though it's, Priscilla looks better, acted better, made better talent. But it's just like, what did you set out? Did you accomplish what you set out to do?
You need to pick like apples and oranges here, like a quality.
I have a question.
Horror film, and then.
No. I think this. I understand.
Because I've seen bad horror movies, and a bad horror movie can be worse than Priscilla. I think it tried to do something that's easier to do, but it accomplished it. Whereas Priscilla set out to do something that was harder to do, did not accomplish it. So I like the movie that aimed lower and got it.
Let me ask you something. Marvel makes a movie.
Disney
makes a movie, and their goal, they're saying this is going to be not a satire, not a parody, more like an homage to like the old classic campy space adventure movies, where and they're going to like recapture it all, kind of like low budget, and like that's all it's going to be. So they're saying their aim there. They're saying like this is what it's going to be. This is what we're setting out to make. We're setting out to make a low-budget space adventure movie that is an homage to the campy, spacey, Star Trek-y kind of, like that's kind of campy-ish.
Sure.
Stories from the 80s, maybe late 70s, depending on when you're looking at it. And they make that movie. It's Disney. Billion, almost $1 trillion corporation, enormous. We know what they can do. It's the same company that made Endgame. It's the same company that makes Avatar. It's the same company that does all this stuff, Star Wars. Are you going to judge this movie based on where it was aiming for, or are you still going to say, like, the effects, what it's trying to do better be perfect?
If it hit it's aesthetic, if it's all cohesive, like what you're describing, if that movie, fit that
Which
mold,
would sound awesome. I would love a movie like that, by the way.
then yeah, I think I'd be into it, because if it's not insisting upon itself or whatever, like I would enjoy that, like that works for me.
So it's not necessarily, it's really where the movie is setting its aim. Like, that's really
and
the
how
part that
well
matters.
does it hit? And I would say Friday the 13th Part 4 nails its target, and it's still a 4 out of 5. It's not a 5 out of 5, because what it set out to do has a ceiling. There's only so good that type of movie can be. So you get what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah.
If you aim lower and you hit it, great. But since you aimed low, it's still not going to be like a 5 out of 5 movie.
Okay.
But and the reason I bring that up is I do think Evil Dead just absolutely, I'm not saying what they did was easy. You're still setting out to it's not easy to scare an audience and keep them really startled. And they're throwing a lot at the wall, like I said, but it nails exactly what it is trying to do. Exactly what it is trying to do. And every single thing that they, even if effect doesn't look real, it's got a tangible, it's tangible because it's real, in the sense that it's a practical effect, even if it doesn't look completely lifelike. But it comes across as every single effect that I enjoy. It's a minor miracle to me, because I know the circumstances of how they made it, or how hard it was for them to even get this done. So everything's just, I'm so impressed by everything, even if it's less real looking than an effect in Grogu and the Mandalorian trailer that came out, which I don't think looks great.
So, Zach, I have another one that is comparable, made on
I have an answer.
a shoestring budget compared to what things are made with now. There is a, I don't know, survival horror film called Open Water. It's about two people who get trapped in the ocean. Now, this film does not look like a quality film, but I remember when we were watching it, there were scenes where I looked at you turn off this fucking movie, man. This is really, turn it off. Turn it off. Because it's about two people who get stranded in the ocean, and that genuinely is a fear of mine. That is comparable to this in that it set out what it was made to do, but what makes this stand out over that? What would you say?
I just like what this movie's doing. This movie's more original than just, a shark movie. There's a billion possession movies, but there's something about this that is just, it's more unique. Something about, I think this movie is so just wildly original that I think that even though they're both low budget movies, and I enjoy that movie for what it was, from what I can remember, this I think is just something else. And I think this has higher highs even on the modest budget of just what they are doing. This is more memorable by a lot.
I want to answer your question.
Yeah,
I'll
Corey.
I think if it takes me out of the movie, if the acting, the storyline, if it takes me out of the movie, I notice it and I'm less forgiving of it, kind of not depending really on the circumstances. I don't think there was anything in this movie that necessarily took me out of it. When the pipe bursts and all the blood comes rushing out, that almost took me out of it a little. I was like, okay, where did that come from? That silly guy, I was like, what is this going on? But I don't think there's anything specifically that took me out of it in this. You brought up the ankle being stabbed as an example. I felt that. When that happened, I could tell it was fake, but I also felt it. And if I'm feeling it, that's not taking me out of it. I am obviously very into this, ingrained in this movie at that point. And I'm right there with the characters.
When that happens in Pet Sematary, it gets me every time.
So I think that's what I really base a movie off of when I'm watching it. And then I think circumstances take effect after I watch.
Mm-hmm.
So in this one, I completely forgot that you mentioned that it was made by a 21-year-old until we hopped on this and we were talking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. And considering that, that this was made by someone so young and just kind of throwing this together, it didn't have this huge studio behind it. So I think that makes it better and makes maybe not makes it better, but makes it more fun, makes it more memorable, makes you want to go back, because then you are looking at it through that lens whoa, how did they do that? That stuff that you wouldn't have maybe said the first time, how did they do that? But stuff that is probably still impressive, and then you're just looking at it through this lens and it just amplifies how impressive it is. But on the first watch, I don't like. I don't. It's hard to tie it to that, and I don't really want to tie it to that because then I go into a Marvel movie or I go into like one of the big Disney movies already a little bit upset, which I kind of do now, which I don't like. But
I go
like,
into it already upset.
but and then like
you're sitting down in the theater, crossing your arms,
like,
and just
this is dumb. I'm already mad. But then it's the same effect where you'll go into a movie like this already like excited, and so then there are those positives, and like I want to go into a movie excited. So I'd rather just like cut out all of it and go into a movie kind of no expectations and kind of have it build its own expectations for me, and whether it meets those, that's up to the movie. Did you guys have anything else before I moved on?
I was thinking about this when I was watching this. Zach has a fondness for Bruce Campbell that you don't see with a lot of actors who are primarily in smaller films over time. The term is kind of cult actor, like an actor who develops this kind of cult following, and their fans go to see them because they love them and they love what they do. So outside of Bruce Campbell, who is your guys' favorite cult actor? Like one that you follow like kind of religiously and you make an effort to like see the things that they're in or watch the shows that they're in because you love them.
Give me a moment. I'll have to cut out this looking moment, but that's not a bad question. Let me see.
I can start with mine if you guys would like.
You should.
So mine is probably Nathan Fillion. He is kind of a bigger name now, Superman and all that. But I find myself everything that he's often in, smaller budget things, but does appear in like big budget things. He's currently on a procedural called The Rookie. He's had 2 shows that have stood like the test of time, and some shows that have been canceled after 1 season. But no matter what he's in, he just oozes likability. Like as an actor, I don't know what it is about him that I just love watching him in everything that he is in.
It says he was in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, he was the original Private Ryan, the first one. He's like, my brothers are dead. How could they be dead?
And he tells him like, no, your brothers are not dead. Yeah, and he still is like still crying about it because he doesn't believe them when they say, no, your brothers are not dead or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. I forgot about that part. My answer is just in my time looking while you were talking, Cole. I was still listening. Don't worry. I don't know if this really works because he is a big actor, but I almost love him for the cult roles that he's in. And that's Kurt Russell. Like we all know who Kurt Russell is. People know who Kurt Russell is, but like he's bigger than Bruce Campbell for sure by a wide margin. But it's the more cult roles that make me love him. Like Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof, kind of like Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell. Kurt Russell's in a lot of John Carpenter movies. So like I love him in obviously The Thing, but also Big Trouble in Little China is probably where he's the most.
I need to see that.
I think honestly we could talk more about that with the Evil Dead sequels, because I think Ash in the next couple movies are definitely, there are comparisons between Ash and those and Kurt Russell and Big Trouble in Little China. So that might become more relevant. But like, movies like that, Escape from New York, I love him in Escape from New York and Escape from LA. And Bruce Campbell's actually in Escape from LA. So it all circles back. But that Kurt Russell will be my answer. I have a lot of fun with him and everything, to the point where I watched Monarch the entire first season. I don't watch much TV, you guys know, and I still watched all of Monarch, the Godzilla show, even though it was like fine, but just because it was a Kurt Russell show, I was all the way in on it.
What episode of Daredevil will you be covering this month?
I think I've been watching episode 5 in multiple sittings.
Dude, the first season's so fucking good.
Of Daredevil, yeah, but this is season 4. What am I gonna let season 1 equity carry me all the way through? I mean, I'm talking about Born Again. I've watched all the original 3 seasons of Daredevil.
Okay, I didn't know if you were rewatching the first season.
No, I love that first season of Daredevil.
The one that immediately came to my mind was Jim Cummings. But I don't know if I necessarily seek out. Well, I do, because anytime He's not in many, but also whenever he posts about something, that's when I'm like, okay, I will watch this. That's stuff like the beta test, Thunder Road, Wolf of Snow Hollow. He posted something else.
Last Stop in Yuma
recently?
County is one he was in last year that he starred in. He didn't direct it, but I did watch that and I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed him in it. So that's an example. He was also in Halloween Kills to the point, and that was like a movie I don't like, but when he showed up, it was such a fist pump moment.
Theater.
Yeah,
in the theater.
It's just
Zach
like
was like,
nice. Yeah, it's just that's my boy. Yeah, I am a big fan of Wolf of Snow Hollow. That's my
dude.
What's an underrated horror movie I should watch? Like, glad you asked. You know, like I got one.
Thunder Road is like
that might be better. It might be.
I was gonna say I don't want to say it's better, but it might be. But they're right there. They're right there. He's just so good in Thunder Road.
He is.
He's too good. So that's mine. Zach,
all right.
your
all I was
gonna
say, and I'll be quick. Yeah, I'll be quick. I just want to shout out how good that stop motion melting stuff is at the end. That entire sequence, no music, music at the end. We're just watching all of it.
Just a little long.
I loved it, but that's fair enough. But I mean, that is also like an example of it also being inherently funny to me that we're just sitting there like Ash, and the lack of music helps us just put us there with him, where we're just watching like he would be watching it, and it's just he's just watching all of this happen, just sitting there, and then it's like one last insult when the body falls and it just splats all over in his face. He's just like, oh, it's so funny to me. And then like when they finally fade away, and they fade away with one final like join us like echoing or whatever through the cabin. Like I think that's pretty inspired. Anyway, I just want to shout out how much I love that scene, and how impressive I thought that was. I'm a sucker for stop motion in general.
We love that shout out. We love it.
Yeah, I thought it went on a little long. Where I was like, we're still doing this.
It is kind of like, look what we can do. Look what we can do. Like when they got snakes and bugs crawling out of like Scotty's arm. It's just like, okay,
yeah, and then
sure.
And then like after it's been going on for like 3 minutes, arms pop out of both sides for both of them. And at that point, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what we're building to.
I always forget that's coming, and it's just like, oh, okay, yeah.
But then it doesn't lead
giant
anywhere.
monster arms. No, of course not. No,
I thought it was leading somewhere.
I think that's the only time that ever happens. I think in these movies.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
But with
they
that,
got new fresh ideas. Yeah.
On to the awards season.
Apparently they strayed off course, and we're fairly certain they're in guerrilla hands.
So why don't you use the regular army? What do you need us for?
Because some damn fool accused you of being the best.
Can I go first?
Dibs on second.
That's fine. Yeah, you can go first.
I'm going to go Robert G. Tappert, the producer of the film, because, I mean, yeah, he made a lot of money with the distributing rights and all that. Owning the film is important. But putting the money up for a small production like this, I don't really think they had a production company. It's just this guy. And this is by all means an independent film. It's not a studio film. It's
independent.
It's incredibly
might be the
independent.
most independent film of all time.
It's supporting
So
independent film, and it's not like what's his name who made Anora being like, yeah, support independent. Sean Baker saying like, yeah, support independent film. I got like $20 million to make this movie. No, it's a guy who gave a lot of his money to support a project that he believed in.
Was it his money? I think he's
usually the producer.
No, I think producer doesn't mean like you gave the money. If anything, that's what an executive producer is. But like a producer just kind of means you're there to help make things run smoothly.
Yeah,
because I think Robert Tappert was just friends with them, Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi, and he was just like the guy on set. But I think here's how it went budget wise. They made a short film called Within the Woods that was like 30, so a long short film, but like 30 minutes of less, proof of concept, and then they showed that to rich people in their city. They would go around showing it. Only dentists. Dentists is like what Bruce Campbell said. They showed it to a lot of dentists, and they would invest in it. And so like they got the money off of their 30-minute version and then made the long version. So they had to raise the money. It's not like one guy was like, sure, let me fund the whole movie.
I heard Bruce Campbell had to put his house like up as collateral to get like a loan. Yeah, that's what I heard. Because it went like over budget or something, and Bruce.
Either way, this is all urban legend and like just myth.
I heard they were selling semen on the black market.
Whoa!
That's
how am I supposed to explain that to my mom?
But Robert Tappert's a good pick though, Cole, because like by all accounts, everything I've heard, just because by that I mean
you're
like,
putting
read a few
in work,
articles
but you're not
listen to a
going
long podcast on the making of this movie, and Robert Tapper was very integral in making things go smoothly as they could. Not that things ran smoothly, but it all worked out in the end.
And he was one of the shemps. That's what they're called.
The fake shemps. Yeah. That's too much to explain right now. I'm not going to deal with that.
But yeah, he was a stand-in on set.
Yes. I am going to say Ellen Sandweiss
Zach?
as Cheryl is my MVP for this movie.
Cheryl.
I think when she's the most sympathetic when she's not possessed. I think everything they make her go through in the woods is brutal. And there are some people who take issue with that scene, and I can't blame them. It might be the only moment the movie might go too far.
She was Shelley.
No, Shelley is Scotty's girlfriend.
Okay, sorry.
Ellen Sandweiss is Ash's sister.
Okay.
The woods assault scene it's a lot, and I can understand anyone who takes issue with that scene in concept. They're just trying to. I mean, these, like I said, these are 21-year-olds who are doing, and like this is like their only chance, and they're doing anything to get noticed, get talked about. And to be fair, like I remember that being one of the things that I was like, dude, this movie's insane. This like kind of like what we talked about with Terrifier, with that scene in the first Terrifier. That's like this movie's version of that. Where
Which
it's
scene?
like, okay, gratuitous, hard to watch. You're not going to forget it, and you're probably going to talk about it, and people are going to be like, oh man, that movie sounds crazy. I might go see that, and you know what I'm talking about in the first Terrifier, the Saw scene. That version of this in this movie is the tree assault scene, I think, to Cheryl in the woods.
That it wasn't supposed to be like that. Like she was just supposed to get like grabbed by the tree or something like that, they just kept adding stuff to the scene.
Yeah, well, they sure did.
And it turned into what it did.
Yeah. Either way, point is, she went through a lot, and she sells that terror really well. And I think when she's panicked, and just the Evil Dead are torturing her psychologically, it's all really good when she's human. And then when she's possessed, she's really scary. And like Corey said, she's a great physical performer there as well. Mm-hmm. So I think Ellen Sandweiss is the MVP of this movie for me.
100%. I agree with you. She was my number one pick. I also had Betsy Baker on my list as Linda. Just playing the doll, all the other things. I think her and Ellen did a lot of the physical acting, carried a lot of the physical acting weight in this movie, and it's just so surprising how how much that affected me. I don't think there's been another movie where I've been affected by the physical acting so much. I was trying to kind of tie it to something, not to say like they're Tom Cruise or anything, but like doing something like where you're impressed by what they could do and it kind of elevates the story. And that's kind of like what it was with Tom Cruise. It's hard to do that kind of stuff, and that is the most memorable stuff from this movie. Looking back, like when I'm a year or 2 years from now looking back on this movie, I'm not going to remember Bruce Campbell crying over the table while his girlfriend is strapped to the table and he's like considering cutting her head off. I'm not going to think of that. I'm going to think of Cheryl floating after saying all those cards. I'm going to think of Linda sitting on the floor and saying like, join us, and like laughing at him and cackling at him no matter what, like just won't stop. Those are things I'm going to remember. And so I just think they pulled it off so well. I know at a certain point there were stand-ins for both of them. But I think a lot of, for Betsy at least, it happened after they went to the grave and they buried her. I think that's what you can kind of tell when there's a little bit of a switch. So I think a lot of the stuff that I'm giving her credit for, it was actually her doing that. So she is my MVP for The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
On to the review section.
It says that they insist on outside opinions.
What kind of opinions?
Well, your kind, not to put too fine a point on it. I mean, let's face it, in your particular field, you're the top minds.
Can you imagine a Tom Cruise Evil Dead movie?
Wait, who's Tom Cruise?
We're going to summon real demons on this production. And I'm
What
gonna
is
fight him.
what's he say? What's he say in that soundbite? I'm trying to save movies. Does he say like something like that?
The studios every night.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise screaming.
Cool.
Okay. This is a little too dark for me. I hope the sequels lean more toward comedy and possibly 4.25 out of 5.
Spoilers are insane. Goodness. God damn it.
Did we not learn anything from Poltergeist? I can't. It's like the thesis of this episode was Corey hasn't seen any of these. That will be fun.
Man.
My God. Let me look up a movie really quick. What are you excited to see, Cole? Zach, go ahead.
All right. A low-budget masterpiece. Even amidst all its glorious blood splatterings and stop-motion meltings, The Evil Dead doesn't forget how scary it can be to just look out into the woods at night and wonder what could be out there. 4.5 out of 5. I hope that wasn't too earnest for you, but that was
a little too much. A little too sentimental for my tasting.
At least I'm not talking to Ash and just being like, Ash, you'll get him next time, buddy. 4.5 out of 5.
If not, you can go back to this moment again and try. Over the bridge and into the woods we go. Let's strap down those women and get those ghosts unlocked. The boys are just trying to listen to their favorite podcast and women just don't understand. 3.5 out of 5.
I'm not going to do it because I'm lazy. But if one of you guys wanted to make an edit where they press play and it's our podcast and they're sitting around and Cheryl's like, turn it off. And he's like, hey, shut up. And you're like, I'm not going to do it. But I would enjoy it if one of you did it. That would be a lot of fun.
I'll put it on my to-do list.
That would be a good post.
Our podcast plays.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
It's a good bit.
Oh, that's great.
What would it start with? Welcome back to another episode of Kidlands.
Or is it known as Portugal as movie?
Oh, I haven't done that.
You haven't done that in probably a year or two.
I can't get this thought in my head now. That's really funny to me. They're all just sitting there listening to it, just on a tape recorder.
Cole, if there's in any of these movies, I get one nut punch on you.
I think his token's gone. I think his special game
you
tokens.
can take the token.
No, he doesn't look like he's hurt by that, so I'm not going to take it.
Don't punch me in the nuts.
I get
like...
one nut punch.
No,
you gotta learn a lesson.
I don't agree to physical violence. I
didn't ask for permission. I just said
think that's an agreeable thing.
Don't spoil movies, and you don't get punched.
I'm gonna bleep out what he said. I'm gonna bleep out what he said in the thing, so it's like we don't even know what he spoiled. Like,
ooh, I
in
like
the recording.
That.
Well, I said it again,
and then you'll have to bleep out every time Corey says it too.
You just think
if there's
fun to spoil
in the next movie, I'm gonna nut punch you. Okay.
On to the post-credit scene.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.
Corey, you mentioned... Oh, by the way, we're doing Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness next. Corey, you mentioned Conjuring.
Evil Dead 2 on...
Max. Evil Dead 2 is streaming on Max.
I was going to say, I watched this one on Pluto TV.
I did
you
too.
had ads.
I did too.
Yeah, I watched it with ads.
It was brutal. There was an ad every 10 minutes.
And they were like 2-minute long ads.
Dude, it was rough. It's like watching
I watched this the way it was designed, in the sense that we played it on a VHS, and it is like, because I have my VCR here in my room.
It's not the way it was designed.
As in,
it was the way it was designed.
This is the type of movie that really kind of like doesn't lose anything in that regard. Like I think the graininess to it keeps it even scarier. I think, honestly, I think it was a good experience. Whatever. Corey, you brought up The Conjuring. I saw Conjuring 4, and
sorry,
the devil.
Let me tell you,
did the devil make you do it?
The devil did make me go see this film, and I will say I liked it more than the third one. But guess what? That's just a taste of what I'm about to give you, because I also rewatched Annabelle Comes Home, which is one I haven't seen in a while. So I can give you a full... And I also watched Curse of La Llorona, which I have not seen, which is also set in the Conjuring universe. I can give you my full 10-film Conjuring ranking. So that's... If that interests you, Corey, I know you're so in shock. You're really excited about this.
Like, I want to go to bed.
Any guesses on the bottom?
Conjuring.
Yeah, the first one.
Nun.
It was the
Nun.
worst one. All right, coming in at number 10, Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Number 9, The Curse of La Llorona, starring Linda Cardellini. 8, The Nun. 7, The Nun 2. 6, First Annabelle. 5, The Conjuring 4. Now, we are halfway through the series now in the ranking. At number 5 with The Conjuring 4. And for reference, I gave it 2 out of 5. So I don't love this series. Number 4, Conjuring 2. And then number 3, Annabelle Comes Home. And 2, I think the most underrated movie in the series by a wide margin, Annabelle Creation. That's the prequel one. And then number 1 by like a wide margin, the first Conjuring. I actually think that's the only one that's like close to great. Yeah, that's the only one I could like recommend with 0 asterisk to anyone. Be like, yeah, no, it's just really good.
Recommend movies like that.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That was too much.
That's all I brought for show and tell today. That's
You didn't watch it? Oh, okay.
I mean,
I watched a movie called The Legend of the Ochi. Have you guys heard of that?
Go ahead.
No, it was fine. It's just, it was on Max. It had Willem Dafoe in it, which I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. And it had the kid from Stranger Things.
Finn Wolfhard.
Finn Wolfhard, he was in it.
Wait, was Finn Wolfhard, or was it a different kid from Stranger Things?
No, it was Finn Wolfhard. That's who I was thinking of. But yeah, it was fine. It was cool. It was kind of fun. It was a little adventure movie about just kind of some magical creatures, which is always a good time. And then just alcoholism and stuff.
That's always a good time too.
And then I watched part of The Wolf of Wall Street. Didn't finish it. I paused it. It's sick. So long.
What scene did you pause it on?
Where did I stop?
This is an important question, Corey.
After he finds out Donnie got Brad arrested. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And he gets arrested by the police, and that's where I stopped it.
I know Zach usually stops it at a difference. Get off the phone.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But I realized that the first hour is all just like introduction to the story.
I forget that
It's a
Matthew
Martin
McConaughey's in the
Scorsese
movie
crime
every time
movie.
I watch it.
It's a Martin Scorsese
Matthew McConaughey's
crime
in it. He has 2 scenes, and then he's gone for the next 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
You know what he does? He comes in, tells Leo, hey, I'm about to win this Oscar this year, and then walks away.
It's not what he says, but I get
Did he
your
win
meaning.
an Oscar for that?
He won an Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club the same year that came out.
Oh.
Lame.
But, yeah.
Bad movie. Cole, what are you watching?
I've been watching Peacemaker, been staying up on Peacemaker. I like this season more than the first one. No spoilers for why, but I just like it more than the first one. And then Gen V from the universe of The Boys. I have been loving that, which I didn't even realize last week the first 3 episodes dropped. And then I saw them on Prime, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to watch this. They didn't market this one as heavy as they marketed season 1, but yeah. I've really been enjoying those. I'm always looking for a new TV show to watch, so any recommendations, throw them in the pipeline, and I'll try and get to them. Not the summer I turned pretty, so I will not be.
No, I don't have any other TV recommendations for you. I'll try to keep on. Oh, The English Teacher, when that comes out. It's a new season's coming out tomorrow. That show is so funny.
You did recommend season 1 pretty high. You were really high on season 1.
It's so funny. I am so excited for tomorrow when the first episode drops. But that's all we have. Zach left a little bit early, but that's okay because we didn't really have anything else. We're wrapping up. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching along. And join us next time as we talk about The Evil Dead 2 that is streaming on Max. I don't know where the next Evil Dead is, but we'll let you know when we get to the next episode. So until then, keep watching movies and keep listening to us. See ya.
See ya.